Do you think a convicted murderer should ever get out of prison? Every year, murderers are getting out of prison. It is the parole board that is legally mandated to determine if a murderer is too dangerous or is safe enough to get out. It's a complicated process. It takes years of preparation. One of the final steps to getting out is the consultation hearing, where the murderer gets a preview of what the final lifer hearing will be about. The following is a dramatization from a real case. The question is, do you think this murderer is too dangerous or is safe enough to get out of prison?
Okay, good morning, Gibbons.
Good morning, Commissioner Woods. I really didn't get that joke that guy was telling you.
You don't watch the show, so you wouldn't get it.
I prefer movies.
Yeah, well, it's a funny show, but you just have to watch it.
Okay, let's start. Let's get on the record.
All right, let's start. All right. This will be the subsequent hearing for inmate DT 57945, Daryl Holmes. The previous board decision was for a one-year denial. I am Commissioner Woods, and the inmate is represented by
Attorney Gibbons for Mr. Holmes.
As procedure, I will take input from the prison counselor, the psychiatrist, the district attorney's office, and the victim's next of kin if applicable. I will also accept input from the inmate and their attorney. Let's proceed.
Okay, Mr. Holmes was convicted of second-degree murder on July 23, 2002. He was sentenced to 15 years to life with parole. The crime involved the felony murder rule. A police officer shot the drug dealer in the crack house. Mr. Holmes was a cashier locked up in the cash room. He was 16 years old at the time, but he was tried as an adult.
Okay, so I see he has youthful offender status and no prior criminality, correct?
Correct, and this is going to be his second subsequent hearing, and he will be going for a parole grant.
Okay, well, seems as though, according to his file, his major issue is that he has failed to improve upon his education. His psychological evaluation is less than favorable, but on paper, he seems like a really good candidate as far as behavior-wise. Well, I guess we'll have to see.
Well, there's some errors. He is working on his GED.
Okay, well, let's see how he presents. Miss Soto, are you there?
Oh. Yeah, I'm here.
Miss Soto, is Mr. Holmes on your yard?
Oh, no. But I see Daryl once a day when I go over to B Yard. And at least once a month when he has his appointment time with me.
So are you covering 2 yards?
Actually, 3. They never replaced the counselor on D Yard. You know, D Yard is female now.
So how's Holmes' institutional adjustment going?
Well, Daryl is the nicest person. Always has a smile and good attitude, respectful. Oh, and he got out of that gang, too.
What about his last disciplinary write-up?
Well, that was the yard riot. Everybody on the yard got written up. I don't see how he was directly involved.
Okay, so what about his programming, education, training, anything new?
Yes. He's working on his GED.
All right. Okay, thanks, Miss Soto. All right, let's see what the psych has to say on this, on the story of Holmes. Dr. Lynn, are you there?
Hi. The inmate was oriented to person, place, and time. He understood the purpose and function of the evaluation and was explained to him. His speech was clear, coherent, and goal-directed. He had no word-finding difficulties, and his rate and tone was normal in his speech. I'd say the inmate's overall risk of dangerousness would be low on the medium scale, but if he got his GED, it would be high on the low scale. And if released, I'd recommend that he continue therapy.
So your assessment is low.
Basically.
Okay, well, that clears that up. Thanks so much, Dr. Lynn.
Sure.
All right, DA Bird, are you there?
Yes, Commissioner. Let me get right to it. This one is a gang member. He did the crime, the people want him to do the time. But we do recognize his positive gains and we encourage him to continue, but at this time the people are against parole.
There are no victims opposing.
No.
Okay, no VNOX. Anything else? No? Well, I guess I've got everything I need. Thanks, DA Bird. Officer, please send in Mr. Holmes.
Good morning, Commissioner Woods.
Good morning, Mr. Holmes.
Mr. Holmes, can you tell the commissioner why you are in prison?
I am responsible for the death of Calvin Wilson.
What do you mean you are responsible?
On February 18, I and Mr. Wilson were involved in a criminal conspiracy of selling crack cocaine. The police came to the crack house to serve warrants, and Mr. Wilson was shot and killed by the police.
So, are you guilty?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Why? From what I understand, you were locked up in the closet. You weren't even out where the shooting occurred.
There's a law called the felony murder rule, so I was charged with Mr. Wilson's murder.
And why were you there?
I didn't have no place, any place else to go or any way to get money to eat.
So you're minimizing?
Oh, I see. No, I chose to be there. Nobody forced me.
Huh. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's find out how we got here. Start from the beginning.
Commissioner, I grew up in foster homes, group homes from the time I can remember. I never had no one taking interest in me. Never had nothing but a few changes of clothes and a box of action figures. I was embarrassed to go to school because I was always raggedy and hungry. I started hanging out behind the strip mall on Vernon. It had a pizza joint. I could get the boxes.
So you stole pizza?
No, I'd get the boxes out of the trash and I'd eat the boxes. The ones with the pizza sauce on them.
Go ahead.
So, one day around Christmas, my big homie saw me and said I could make some money working for him. All I had to do was stay in his closet and collect the money that they slid through a slide. I'd stay in there until they let me out, and then they'd count the money and usually give me $50. And I'd go pee and get something to eat. I never had any drugs or anything. I just took the money that they slid through the slide and put it in the shoebox.
I see. All right, what happened on February 18th, 2001?
Okay. So I was in a closet collecting money when the police broke in, and I was trying to look through the slide, but I heard shooting and it got on the floor. The police came in the closet and broke the closet door down, and they locked me up. They handcuffed me, sorry. And when they were taking me out to the police car, I could see my big homie on the floor, lying down bleeding. I didn't know he died until I got to court and the public defender told me I was getting a murder charge.
And what happened when you went to court?
The public defender tried to keep me in juvenile court, but the judge said I should be tried as an adult. He said he could give me 15 with parole, but if I went to trial, I could get life. So I took the deal and got 15.
Oh, geez. That's not correct. But it's not the first time I've heard that scenario. I guess he also told you that you'd be out in 15 years.
Yes, ma'am, he did.
Well, that's not true. How this really works, you're eligible for parole. You're eligible for a suitability hearing to try and get a parole date, but even that's not a guarantee. The governor still has the final say. He can determine whether or not, if we decide if we're going to release you or not. It's up to him. Bottom line, it's not automatic.
When did you get out of the gang?
When I came to prison, it was all I knew, so I continued my gang activities for about 7 years. Then I got out and debriefed with the police.
Why?
I want to get out of prison.
All right then, Mr. Holmes. You can step out.
Good job. Good job.
Officer, Holmes is on his way out.
This is my star client for the month. Can you give me this one? This one?
Attorney Evans.
This is the poster child for criminal justice reform.
You can say that again. He has a compelling story, but the crime does fit the definition for felony murder.
Felony murder? The prosecutor overcharging? You know he wouldn't have gotten a life sentence under the new law.
Look, I wasn't the judge.
But you are the commissioner. You make the decisions. Give me this one.
I'll get him scheduled for a suitability hearing, okay? That's the best I can do.
I think I'm winning you over.
Well, you know I'm always fair and balanced. I'll move his hearing date up to the next available slot.
All you have to do is write in your report, Parole.
You are funny, Givens.
Well, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to get my client home. He needs to get parole.
I'll see what I can